Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verses 1 through 8. He says, Then I looked and I saw a new heaven and a new earth coming, because the first earth, first heaven passed away. Now, too often this is interpreted as the destruction of the first heaven and earth. That's not what the text says. It says it has passed away. And you read verse 5, Behold, I am making everything new. And when God created the first heaven and first earth, what did he say after he created it? He said it was good. But what happened? Sin contaminated all of it. And that sin now has been driven away, right? Chapter 20 was all about the end of wickedness and evil. The destroyer has been destroyed. And now there's just God. And I want you to consider 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. It says, Therefore, anyone who is in Christ, the old has passed, the new has come. And so for God, when God makes you new, he doesn't destroy you. He renews you. He makes you the fulfillment of his grace. And that's what's happening here. Goes on to say, I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, and it's not going up to heaven. Heaven is coming down to us to dwell amongst us. And God has prepared the holy city, which is the bride of Christ, the wife of the Lamb. God has prepared us. God has made us his holy city. And he says, look, God's dwelling place is among people. God desires to be with us. That was from the very beginning with Adam and Eve, all the way through the end of the scriptures in Revelation. God desires to be with his people and for us to dwell with him. And for this intimacy of belonging. And he goes on to say that he will wipe away every tear from our eyes, the mourning, the crying or pain, all these things that belong to the old broken order, they're gone, and death is no more, because death does not belong to God. He is the God of the living, not the God of the dead, and death is a tool of Satan, not of God. Then it says, write this down. These words are trustworthy and true. If there's anything that is real, anything that is trustworthy and true, it's the word and the promise of God. And now they're coming to fruition. In verse 6, just as it was spoken from the cross, it is done. The seals that were cracked open in chapter 5 and 6, the bowls of wrath that were poured out, that were going to usher in the reign of God, all of it's now complete. And God's dominion has been established over every millimeter of creation and heaven. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. And for us as Christians to understand that he's not just that's who he is for us. God is your beginning and God is your end. And when we see our lives in that context, then we have an identity that is true and trustworthy. We have a confidence about ourselves. And then he says, to the thirsty, I will give water without cost. The water of life. When Jesus speaks these words, to those who are victorious, I will be their God and they will be my children. And who is victorious? Those who trust in Jesus Christ, who conquers over all. Verse 8, the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually indecent, immoral, those who practice sorcery and witchcraft, the idolaters, and all the liars, they're all going to be consigned to the fires of hell. The thing is that none of our sin can go with us. And all of us probably have one element or another of one of these sins in our life, and all that has to be purged out of our lives. I mean, after all, what would you want to be seen with? What would you want God to see in your life? You don't want God to see any of this garbage. You want it all gone. And so it is the grace of God that removes this from your life. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.